Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Karoline's Knits. My name is Karoline and I live in Scotland with my partner Ben and our puppy, she turns 1 next week, so maybe not a puppy anymore, our dog Belle. I am originally Danish but I've lived in the UK for almost 8 years. Now I'm going to grab the tea and hope it's safe from the dog for like 5 minutes. As you might be able to tell, I'm a little bit congested today. I for the first time since January 2020, oh there she is, summoned. Mrs, can you take that to bed please? Good girl. Yeah, for the first time since January 2020, I've managed to catch something that's given me a bit of a sniffly noise. So I do apologise that there might be some sniffles and some wiping the tip of my nose to help, but it's just a perfect time to film. I have been so incredibly tired with getting up early for the gym and all the wedding preparations, etc., that the past few weeks I've just not felt like I had the energy to film. But today I feel really good, besides the slight sniffles and the fact that my voice sounds a bit deeper. So I hope you bear with me. Thank you so much for all the lovely comments for the last video where Belle was an absolute menace. I have probably set myself up for failure because I've not taken her on a long walk or anything, but I've given her some kind of disgusting chew that she really enjoys. So you might hear slight chew noises in the background, so I do apologise, but I'm hoping that it will keep her quiet for at least at least for the next like half an hour or so. So also motivation to be slightly quicker. So let's get started with the usual format. What am I wearing today? So this is my one finished object since last time. This is camisole number 6 from My Favourite Things Knitwear. I should mention that the yarn was kindly gifted for test knitting, so I was really fortunate to test knit this camisole, which is this ribbed camisole. The ribbing changes depending on your size and that's how it's graded, but yeah, it's ribbed, and then it has these like quite nice straps that should hide a bra strap, and it has a similar sort of V design on the back as well. You start off with a provisional cast on, knit the front, one front, knit the other front, join them, knit a bit together, then you repeat the same for the back. And the provisional cast on just means that you are able to extend the bra straps if you so wish. I think it looks quite different on some of the other testers because I just have a bit more bust, I think, than some of them. And I knew that with my type of bust, I wanted that perfect balance between it not being like cleavage low cut, like if that makes sense, but still like a deep enough V that is really flattering. Similar to my sweater number 20, I just think that a V shape is really flattering on a bigger bust. However, I'm actually a much smaller bust than I have been in the past, which I didn't realise until I was checking my size for the shorts. I'm currently, I think, 108 bust measurement, and in the past I've been up to 120, so I do, I guess, sort of yo-yo a tiny bit on my bust size, but I do carry a lot of weight, especially up here, like upper bust. My upper bust can be quite big, and yeah, I've just felt so comfortable in this. It's like tight without being like unflattering. Sorry, I'm gonna have to sit like this because I was like overstretching my leg. It was quite uncomfortable. But yeah, so I just think the shape is really good and I really like the wide straps. I personally think that this is fairly easy to knit and it's a perfect like advanced beginner. I have not done provisional cast on before and I was actually quite nervous to try it because it just seemed really complex, but actually when I tried it, it was much easier than I expected and I definitely use it again. And the nice thing is that it's knitted in slightly thicker yarn, which came in this lovely bag. So the camisole is knitted in, oh my god, there's tea on this. I had an accident a few weeks ago where I spilled a full cup of tea over the wall, which has stained our white walls. The new build we live in, the paint they used clearly wasn't particularly high quality, so it's not a very wipeable paint, and so it just stained the walls and clearly have stained some of this yarn too. But I guess I can be thankful that this is coloured enough that it hasn't actually stained the yarn, just the belly bands. But it's nice that, for most camisoles are knitted in like one strand of fingering weight, which takes commitment to knit. As someone who's knitted a tea dish in fingering weight, all I can say is it just takes a long time. But this has a much like looser gauge, I guess, or not looser gauge, but it's using thicker yarn. So it uses one strand of Knitting for Olive merino and one strand of pure silk from Knitting for Olive. Obviously you could easily replace it. If you found a DK weight yarn, then you could probably knit it in just one strand of that. I know that especially the merino just seems to be extra, like it's light fingering and not like, I guess, true fingering. But yeah, I think it'd be really easy to replace. I don't live in a particularly hot climate, so I am not too nervous about knitting anything with merino in it. I think it'd be fine even if it was quite hot. It is my first time knitting with Knitting for Olive pure silk, and I actually have really enjoyed knitting with it. It's not like the shiny silk that I use for my office tee. It's a much less refined. I think some people call it rougher, and I wouldn't call it rough, but it's considerably less refined. I have had to tie knots at the end of at the ends of it, because it does unravel itself a little bit. But yeah, my colour choice is actually quite different to what I'd usually go for. If you followed me for a long time and have seen everything that I've made, you might have seen that I don't really knit in blue. I have one blue garment, which is the only blue thing I've knitted for myself this whole time. I'm usually much more drawn to rust colours and reds and those kind of colours. But together with this camisole, she's also making a pair of shorts that I will show you my progress on shortly. And when I realised she was making this kind of set of like a really cute camisole with a pair of shorts, I was like, this would be the perfect thing to wear the morning of my wedding. So obviously it had to be something blue, which, yeah, I'm really excited for. This top makes me feel so good and so comfortable. Sorry, I have some kind of long hair. There we go. Long hair stuck in my glasses. Yeah, so I was like, this would just be perfect. And this camisole has just already proven really easy for me to wear. I've worn it out for dog walks and that type of thing, just because we are almost in June, and we've hit that season where when the sun is on you and there's no wind, it can be warm enough that you might want like bare arms. But at other times it's so cold that you kind of need to put on, like more layers. So a top like this is perfect to kind of move between different temperatures, I guess. It does actually feel a little bit strange to me to have my arms out. I actually don't have any like I'm not nervous about my arms being big, or I know some people are really insecure about this area, and that's not an issue for me. However, I'm really eczema prone, and I tend to have eczema wherever the hot water hits my body. So I tend to get it up my arms, across my chest and upper back and up my arms. So I do feel a little bit naked today having my arms out. Anyway, that was a side point. But I really do love this combo. Some of the testers used slightly higher contrast between the two strands, which can create quite a cool look as well. But I wanted them to match as much as possible. When you get sponsored yarn from Knitting for Olive, at least, it sort of depends on what brand it's been. But for Knitting for Olive, they give you like a promo code that then, essentially that's how you order it. So it takes like, it takes off all the, like how much you've spent, it takes that off your final purchase price, and then you just pay for shipping. But that means that you are reliant on whatever they have in stock. So for some of the other brands I've tested for, you might or have yarn from, you might just get a colour card and be told like pick a colour on a chart kind of thing. So it just differs a little bit. But because of the amazing effort the Knitting for Olive did for Ukraine, they were just sold out of quite a few of the colours, especially because they don't have that many pure silk colours to begin with. I know they're talking about discontinuing cotton merino to create more colours in pure silk, which I completely get. I was speaking to a knitting friend, was it maybe Laura from Penrose Knits, about why they might do that. Or was it Sophie? I can't remember. Someone else who's a yarn geek like me. And it does make a lot of sense because the cotton merino is probably not the most like original type of yarn, whereas I think the pure silk really is. But anyway, so I was a little bit limited in my colour choices, and for some of the colours that are like, you know, say for oid exists both in merino and in pure silk. But in the blue, this is Dusty Dove Blue, and this is just Dove Blue. So this is obviously slightly more dusty coloured than this. But I think combined, it's not that contrasty. It's like quite a subtle mix, which I really, really like. And actually I have found this colour a lot more wearable than I thought. So today I'm wearing black jeans because I have a dog, and it's nice with something that is a bit more neutral. But if I did try it on with a pair of white jeans, and it looked so good. So I actually think this will be quite useful. I also have a skirt that have these kind of colours in it. So yeah, I should probably knit more in blue, turns out, because I actually think I could get a lot of use out of it. Okay, so let's move on to whips. So after finishing the camisole, I also agreed to test knit the shorts, which as of now does not look particularly nice, do they? So I do apologise for the state then, but as you can tell, I finished their knit. This is knit top down, but the shorts are knit bottom up. So I've started them. I haven't weaved in any ends, and I'm currently at the decreased part, which is why there's so many stitch markers in it. My understanding is that the fit, there's been, I think, one or two of the testers have finished and posted photos, and it looks like, I think the aim of the fit is like a loose flowy kind of short. Anyway, so that's what I think these will be. Again, I actually think the blue will be quite useful. Something I realised, because I think if you'd asked me, not thinking about wearing it for the wedding, but just about what would be nice, I might have been tempted to knit it in like a white. But I've started to wonder, because I'm really keen to knit camisole number 5, which is the camisole that has like a high neck but like cuts in quite far here on the shoulder, because especially now when I've been sticking to CrossFit, I actually think I have quite nice shoulders and arms, and I feel really comfortable in that kind of cut. But I realised that, and I was wondering like, should I knit it in like a white kind of thing? I'm becoming increasingly conscious that when you are as pale as me, you need a lot of sunscreen, and sunscreen can really stain clothes, and I sort of don't want to, like, I feel like this, like colours like this will be more forgiving than like a white or really light colour, because I don't know how easily you would get it out. I know Knitting for Olive posted on their stories the other week that they do machine wash their yarns, and that theoretically all their yarns should be fine in a wool program, but that they don't say, like, because it's not superwash treated, they prefer to say hand wash only, so that people treat it gently, but that most of them could probably be machine washed, which is also why I actually think merino is such a good choice for baby knits. While merino is not as soft as like some yarns that I have worked with, even other merinos, it's just such a workhorse. Like for this camisole, I used less than 2 balls of each. I was so close to using the second ball that I recommended that she said you needed 3, because mine is a little bit on the shorter side, so if you wanted a little bit more length, you might want anything longer. But yeah, my point is that I know they can be technically machine washed on a wool program, and I have a feeling that that the silk would be fine as well. However, I just don't think it could get stains out, like if you had like sunscreen stained on it. So anyway, but the good thing is I do think this colour would still look very cute with like a white summer top or even a black summer top, similar to how this also looks cute with other things. So as much as it'll be cute as a matching set, I also like that I could use it individually. And actually, for the first time in a long time, after the wedding, we have booked a trip to Tenerife, as like, not like a full like fancy honeymoon, because we don't have the money for that just now, but just as a way to get away for a little bit, and so I actually need summer clothes. But again, I'm finding that now that I'm out with the dog, it doesn't have to be that cold before it would actually be nice to wear shorts. So I'm hoping these would get a lot of use. I found it quite a nice knit. I am really into knitting ribbing. I do think I'll have quite a lot of yarn left over actually, when I'm done. I've just started my second ball of pure silk, and I'm just about to start my second ball of the merino. And even though obviously this does need a bit of a higher waist and stuff, like it's not going to cover my bum, this is it, but I still don't think I'll use that much yarn. So I think I'm going to have some balls of pure silk and merino left over, so that'll be good for the oddball, I think. Just going to put that down. My current project bag for it, I thought I should show as well. This is one of the bags that I bought from Sister Karoline when I was back home, and this is like my dream project bag for these kind of size projects. It has 2 big front pockets. In one I keep a belly band, it seems, and then in the other one I have like a haberdashery pouch together with stuff I store stitch markers in. I have more belly bands. Like they're just so deep. Oh, this is from No Frills Knitting. It's like an emergency crochet hook set, and this is so practical to always have around. But I love that you can stuff that in the front pockets. It just keeps it nicely tucked out of the way, and inside of it, it does also have like quite a decent sized pocket, and in here I keep my row counter, which I love. I really rate a row counter. But yeah, it's just perfect. And then I much prefer there to not be a zipper. Just easy to carry around with me, because my other projects live in this, which I realised I did not show last time. And also it has not been tidied because once I started on the camisole, I have not been working on these other projects, because the test knits have quite quick turnarounds. It is like quite monogamous. But this is actually a beach bag, I think the intention is, from TK Maxx. So it has like this like quite structured bottom and these nice good long straps. It has one internal pocket, I think, and then it has like this upper layer that you could use to like close it if you really want it to. But this is just the perfect size and so easy for me to take around. So in between finishing sweater number 20 that I showed last time and starting this test knit, so when I filmed the last video, I did think I was going to be test knitting these camisoles, and so, or the camisole and the shorts, so I was just waiting, I think, for yarn or maybe like for final confirmation or whatever. So I was in that kind of weird place where I was like, I probably can't finish like a full project, but also I just wasn't that inspired by anything really. So I'm just going to show one of the whips that I kind of worked on in that in between time phase was my Carl Johan sweater by Knitting for Olive, which is a saddle shoulder construction saddle shoulder with a long roll neck, and I think last time I showed it I was like halfway through the yoke, and now I have split the sleeves. I've been adding in, so I'm knitting this in the biggest size, which I don't think I should have done. I don't think I should have knit it in a 2XL. I regretted my choice. But I was like, I'm not going to rip it all the way back. So I've just been adding like decreases in the waist, and when I tried it on, the neck felt quite tight, but it does have Italian cast on, so I don't know if you can tell, but I think it does have enough stretch that with wear I don't actually think it'll be that tight. It's incredibly soft. Like, I put it on and I had been like thinking about, is this maybe something I should like frog or like do something else, but I think in winter time this will be such a good piece. The thing about saddle shoulders is they never look good until they're washed, because you always get pre-washing, you always get puckering. I find whenever I've knitted the office designs, I've always had that kind of puckering because you're doing such rapid increases. Now it's looking much better. I don't think I did any. I think I maybe did 1 or 2 less decreases down the bottom because I thought the armhole was looking a bit deeper than necessary. So once the shorts are done, I'm probably going to just bash this out so that it's done, because it's been on my needles for like so long. I'm knitting it in. Also, I really need to tidy this bag. I am knitting it in 1 strand of Filcolana Nina, which is a superwash merino from Filcolana, and Fibre Spates Cumulus, which is like a baby fluffy cereal alpaca, 74% baby cereal alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. So it's just lovely, really soft, and not too fluffy either. So yeah, I think that would be really practical. So I worked on that for a little bit, and I'd kind of told myself that that was all I was like, that I was just gonna push through and finish it. And then I just noticed that I was starting not to want to knit at night, or like at times when I would usually be knitting, I wasn't picking up my needles to knit, and often for me it's just a sign I needed to do something else. And in my knit group we often talk about like going where the dopamine takes you, like this idea that at the end of the day knitting should be fun and it should be something where you really enjoy the process. And I just realized I wasn't, and I was like, at the end of the day it's a turtleneck that I'm knitting going into summer. I'm not going to get that much wear out of it this summer anyway. It maybe was not the right choice to cast on when I did. So I was like, I'm going to knit something else that I am keen to knit, that still, you know, knits through some of my stash. And one like evening basically, I just decided that I wanted to knit a summer tee. So I had to take the needles out of this yesterday, and I've used really long barber cords and it has just tangled, so hold on a second. Right, with the power of editing, that looked really smooth, but that did take me a solid 5 minutes, but it's now untangled enough I can actually hold it up. So as I was saying, I basically just hit a point where I was like, I want to knit a summer tee. I am not in the mood for like a big heavy sweater. I want to knit some lace, something that requires me to read a diagram, and I want it to be summer appropriate, and I want it to use up some of my stash yarn. Now in my stash, last summer I bought some summer yarn that I never ended up using, so that's why I decided to cast on. So this is the Pelmity by Lena Holm Samsu, which I haven't actually tried on. I might not do it because my hair would go crazy. I've done a normal cast on. I hope it's not too tight. Anyway, but this is the sort of start of it. The Pelmity is or palm tea. So Pelme is Danish for palm tree. Is quite a new design that she has made. I think she like brought it out like a month or 2 ago, which is quite similar to like, it uses, similar to the peacock tee, it uses like that kind of lace, but it's a slightly different lace. I have knitted the peacock sweater, so as much as I like the peacock tee, I was like, I kind of want to knit a different lace yoke. So that's what I went for. I also liked that this pattern does have short rows in the back, which the other designs have not had, and I just think everything fits better with short rows, so that's what I've gone for. And yeah, I'm knitting it in one strand of Drops Belle, which is this summer blend that everyone's knitting in, it seems, at the moment. I see it everywhere, which is 53% cotton, 33% viscose and 14% linen. Now this colour is technically a grey, and when it arrived, I was like, this is not grey, it's green. Like, it is 100%. You can actually see it because my nails are grey. They are not the same colour. However, I do think it'll still be a wearable colour. It was just not the colour I expected. I obviously had to use it anyway. I bought this yarn last summer, as I said, from Knit, my friend Simona from Knit with 2 T's. And Drops Belle is quite affordable. I have to say, at the same time, I bought some Turnliner, which is like similar composition but from Sandness. So they make Lina, which is the thicker version like Belle, and they make Turnliner, which is the thin, turn means thin version of Lina. And even though it's the exact same composition, I think the Lina one feels much nicer and it's much shinier. So off the bat, I think I prefer the Sandness one to this, but then the colour I ordered in that is this kind of like OT colour. And I also just think I prefer the colour of that, so maybe not a fair comparison. To knit with, I've found it, it is quite a dry yarn. So it's one of those yarns that if your hands are dry, you have to put on moisturiser before you start knitting. Hopefully that's not just me. And it's very, very splitty. Now, what that means is that I made a mistake on this lace yoke that honestly I considered ripping back, but I think if I rip back in this yarn, I am not sure that it will be reusable. Like, I just think it'll split so much that there's no point in ripping back. So at the very tail end, before I started to test knit, I did like wonder if the mistake was so big that it was like unbearable, but looking at it now, I'm actually not sure I can easily find it. So I'm also trying to remind myself that at the end of the day, often mistakes in like repetitive lace like this is not something other people will notice, it's only something you will notice. The other modification I should say that I did was that I did twisted knit stitches in the neckline, just because I think it looks much neater on these thinner needles. I had to take the needles out because I don't have that many long cables and I needed the long cable for the shorts. So yeah, I will return to this when the shorts are done. I might actually finish this before I finish the roll neck sweater, simply just because I think this will be quicker to finish, and I'm almost done with the lace yoke, not much left. So that is all that's going on in my knitting life just now. I have definitely noticed that I have been I've had a lot less mojo recently. We are obviously in the exciting final stages of planning our wedding in July, and I picked up my wedding dress, which is a funny story in that Ben had to take me, and without saying too much about what my dress is like, between you and I, it is not a light dress. It's quite big and it has a lot of fabric to it, and it's very heavy, and I was like, how is he not going to realise? Because I have kept it secret. I bought it 3 years ago and I have managed to keep it secret from him. I was like, he's gonna know. There's no way I can carry this like massive dress into the car and not realise. But I don't think he has. I don't think he's really clocked how big it actually is and what that probably means for what kind of shape it is and all of this. So it's currently hanging in the bathroom and my veil is stuffed down in that corner and stuff, but But yeah, I'm getting that into, taking it in to get it altered. I want to say thank you so much for everyone's lovely comments about body image that I talked about last week. At the moment, I am on an absolute high because CrossFit is going really well. And to be honest, that is the main reason I'm doing well. I'm just loving CrossFit. I just have been thriving exercising, and because of the sniffles, I have missed my, like, usually I would go on a Thursday and a Friday, and today's Friday, and I've missed these two sessions, and it's I'm excited to be back. I've definitely missed it, but you have to be good, and I know that the government has decided that COVID no longer exists, but I'm like, if there's one thing that we've learned from the pandemic, I think it is that we should stay home even if we're not very ill, just so no one else gets ill. But I've been absolutely loving that, and my body image has definitely been doing really well recently, which is really good. I'm loving seeing the physical changes of like being stronger. If anyone has ever been like a regular gym goer, there's nothing more satisfying to like noticing that your arms are getting more muscular or that your thighs are looking more muscular. It really spurs me on. And I think I'm also feeling better because when I took my dress to get altered, she was like, I can make it fit. So my dress still, at least last time I tried it on a month ago, it did not close. And I don't think it will when I go the next time either. But when she said I can make it fit, for me, that just meant so much, because it means like I can achieve what, you know, I'll keep being healthy and eating well and exercising and stuff. But suddenly this pressure to be a certain weight or lose a certain amount has gone away, and that has really helped me. So that's been really good. In conjunction with training 3 times a week, I have been exhausted. I've spoken about this before. I often knit when everyone else has gone to bed. So when Ben has gone to sleep and Fela is all snuggled up next to me asleep, that's usually when I will knit. So I will knit when we watch the telly and, you know, doing online meetings and these type of things, but often I get an hour or two in before bed when everyone else is sleeping, and I have just been way too tired. I am not a natural early sleeper and early riser. I am the exact opposite. I thrive the best, like now when I've been ill and I've not been up at 5:25, when I can stay up until like 12, 1 o'clock, and like if I could get up at 10, 11 every day, I think that would be my ideal sort of like schedule. But obviously that's not how society works. And I much prefer training in the morning. I get like what I guess I can only describe as a form of gym anxiety when I have to wait a whole day. So like if I go in the afternoon, I spend a whole day making up excuses not to go, and I often find that my afternoon sessions, I pick myself apart. Like none of the lifts are good, I don't accomplish anything, like I'm just not in as good a place. Whereas when I go in the morning, I'm too tired to pick a fight with myself. I'm just like, let's just get this over with. So I have to train in the morning, but that does give me quite limited options. So yeah, the 5:25 wake ups are brutal for me. But at the same time, it's also nice to be really tired at night. If you are not a good sleeper like me, I'm really bad at being tired enough to say, right, it's definitely time to go to bed. It's been a big relief that I am now back to that, and that I actually, yeah, have a regular sleep schedule. So what that has meant is that my mojo has gone down a little bit, I think. I am just too tired to knit as much. Sometimes I just want to sit on the sofa and not move. So I have had decreased knitting time, and so I think when this test knit is over, I'm well aware that for the camisole and the shorts I was considerably slower than the other testers, and not that Louise said anything or that it was any big drama, but I'm also aware that, you know, if I'm not knitting as fast, then maybe it's better to give myself the space not to knit if I don't feel like it. So I think I have to be realistic and accept that for the next few months my life is just going to be so busy with the wedding and all the stuff that comes with that, that maybe I need to accept that I should not be test knitting too much this summer. I really struggle with this. I feel like when I started the year I was like, I'm done with test knits. Then I did one, I was like, I'm done with them now. I did another one. So I'll probably come back to it because I do like the pressure. It's such a fine balance between wanting pressure but also wanting freedom, which I've not yet figured out. So anyway, when these summer items are done, I'm keen to knit through what I've already cast on, and then I'd like to pick up the Oddball Along, which is a lovely casual knit along that I'm hosting with Naomi from NJ Knits. I will link her down below. She also has a lovely podcast. There's a Discord server that she has set up that she'll undoubtedly share the link with you if you want to chat about Oddball Along ideas. And so I'm keen to make a proper video and talking through my ideas, and I'll probably do that when the shorts are done, because I'll then have free needles to actually work through some of the projects. But I'm keen to pick that up again, and I'm really thankful for anyone who's been willing to participate so far. It's so much appreciated. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like small projects coming up this summer just because they're easy to transport. I also desperately want a cardigan, and I think I want a cream coloured one. And obviously I started the Frida's cardigan with all the cables, and I've been toying with the idea of either ripping that out and knitting something else with that, simply because I want it to be quite basic cardigan, or actually unravelling a previous project. So I've knitted the Chunky Dahlia. I knitted that last spring, and I knitted that in a 2XL, and if you look back to my Guyana knits, which I was a bigger size than I am now, so now it would be even bigger. I think even when it was finished, and even at like basically the 2XL was just always too big. The positive is no matter what size I was, like the fit, like the deep raglan and stuff, the fit was not, it's just not right. So I'm tempted to unravel that and knit a cardigan number 7, which is probably one of my most used garments. I have one in grey. And I just think I'd get so much more wear out of it, so I'm building up the courage to unravel it and just knit that. And then the Frida's cardigan can still become a Frida's cardigan, but then I can't decide, are 2 cream colour cardigans too many? But then I wear the cardigans all the time. So yeah, I'm basically trying to figure out what my knit plans are when no one else is dictating my knit plans. Anywho, I am going to stop talking. I'm also really thankful that the dog is still chewing her chew, and it's been nice and quiet, so I'm just gonna finish it off strong with no interruptions today and say thank you so much for watching as usual, and I will see you soon. Bye.